What's up, Cardboard Square enjoyers? I hope you enjoyed your pre-releases this weekend. I almost had to miss the Super Slam pre-release, but luckily one of my local shops was running a Sunday morning event, so I was able to squeak one into another very busy weekend. Some very nice folks in the comments seemed to really enjoy my last tournament video where I featured some of the local crew, and that gave me an idea. I live in an awesome city, surrounded by awesome people and places, and I really ought to show it off a little bit. In this video, we'll sit down with a few of the lovely folks I have the honor of battling with every week, learning about their history with Flesh and Blood, what keeps them playing, and of course, finding out their favorite heroes. So please, if you've been enjoying the content recently, be sure to Super Slam! Super Slam! That like and subscribe button. And now, let's meet some of the rowdy locals. As I mentioned, this tournament was on a Sunday morning, so literally yesterday. I headed out to Grandmaster Games, which is where we always do our Sunday morning armories. It was extra poppin' with the Super Slam pre-release, and at this point I should probably mention that I have barely looked at these cards. I didn't go to Montreal for the world premiere, and I hadn't been reading up on the set at all, so with the exception of the research I did for my preview card, this pre-release was as close to a blind run as I could get. I opened some reasonable-looking Revered cards and a Tough Nut Majestic, and honestly didn't consider much beyond that. In hindsight, I absolutely should have included all of my yellow 6-power attacks instead of a whole bunch of garbage blues, but we still ended up with an only slightly embarrassing pile of chaff. During deck construction, I ran into Emilio, known Guardian enjoyer and one of the few players that actually started playing the game after I did. It's kind of funny, but I still feel like the new guy, having started just over a year ago, and so Emilio became the first victim of having my camera pointed in their face.
I got rehearsed.
Look at the lines, look at the
So my name's Emilio. I've been playing Flesh and Blood for about a year now. I started with a Rosetta pre-release, and that was about a year ago, so it's fun to be back, back where I started, in a sense.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
What got you into Flesh and Blood?
I was looking for a new hobby because I didn't do anything outside work, and I tried getting into Magic the Gathering and Flesh and Blood at the same time. And I liked Flesh and Blood a little more. I started disliking Magic a little more as well. Surprisingly, the standard events I wanted to go to in Chicago, weren't firing like I thought they would. Then I stumble into Dojo, and it gets numbers, it starts, and I said, yep, I'm going to go with Flesh and Blood, and I've loved it since. It's such a thrilling game, and I love to see how it develops. So yeah, big part's going to be the local scene that does come out to events, that doesn't just hide in their rooms. And I think also, this might sound greedy, but this is an underrated factor. I think the Flesh and Blood pricing has been pretty good. I'm eyeing some other card games that are going through immense product scarcity. It's like $15 entry, pack one. It's like, that's a lot for me to lose and pay $50 for a pack. And for games, yes, but I go to the event, I don't feel scammed, then I get to play with cool, fun people, and I think that's kind of everything you could ever want in a community. So it's very good.
Last question, favorite hero and
So, obvious answer is going to be Victor Goldmain. I love his thematicness, I guess. The snobby rich kid buying away the wins and fights. But gameplay wise, I think he's the most interesting Guardian. Maybe even still. Well, life probably takes that now, but he's probably the most interesting Guardian of his day. In that you block, and if you win those clashes, you're not losing card advantage, and you get to keep up with these turns that they want to go wide on. And the payoff from Goldmain Estate, synergizing with those blocks, I think it really is the most fun I've had in a card game ever. No problem. Thank you so much. I'm gonna be a star.
It's tragically ironic that Emilio mentions a reason for getting into Fab, being that back then, even a year ago, standard Magic the Gathering events weren't firing in his area. I really hope they get that sorted out. Also among the competitors this fine Sunday morning was an absolute killer, my boy Yasunari.
My name is Yasunari Sakuma, and I've been playing Flesh and Blood since October of 2023, roughly before Bright Lights came out. I graduated college in summer of 2022, and throughout my college years I played a lot of Magic just because it was a nice way to meet people if I wasn't in the mood for going out and drinking, or I needed a break from going out and drinking. I tried to find a scene in Chicago, and there were plenty, but keep in mind that Magic has a very special place in my heart, but I couldn't quite keep up with all the Universes Beyond stuff, the fire design. So I decided that I wanted to try other card games just to see what else is going on. And Flesh and Blood was at Spellbound, which is on my way back from work. I think Brian Gottlieb also visited Chicago at around that time. So I was like, sweet, yeah, I'll check the game out. And I played some Bright Lights pre-releases and had a blast. I think what's kept me coming back is how welcoming the community was. Everyone was super excited about the game. Everyone was super eager in helping me learn the ropes, especially with getting new cards. Apparently a lot of people had a lot of assassin cards to lend me, so that's kind of what I ended up with.
Which leads perfectly into the last question, which is your favorite hero and why?
That's a really good question. I really like, so in Magic, I never really got around to playing competitively because I started playing in 2018, and 2 years into me playing the game, a specific world event happened. I wondered what it would be like to try building the best deck. For Fab, I wanted to take a different approach. I wanted to try making a kind of more difficult deck to win with work, and the Living Legend system is very unique in terms of how rotation works. I figured, okay, I kind of want to, if I'm going to invest in a deck, I want it to be legal for a really long time.
Yep.
So rather than looking at the top end of the Living Legend leaderboard, I looked toward the bottom. And yeah, Arachne Huntsman was towards the bottom, and the art was really sick. Rowdy is an amazing artist. So that's a long-winded explanation of why I picked Arachne Huntsman.
And why you've been fatiguing us all ever since.
It's not polite, I don't recommend this, but sometimes you have to remind your opponent that their intellect is 4 when they don't have 4 cards left to draw.
It's amazing. Heck yeah, thank you, bro.
Thank you, thank you.
Fun fact, Yasu was actually my second ever opponent, round 2 of my first ever Armory, where I actually high-rolled the shit out of his new deck with my basically stock KO Armory deck plus Cast Bones and Bellows. I always look to him as something of a brotherly rival whenever we sit down against each other. It's usually always a competitive game when we're playing constructed formats, but he is light years ahead of me when it comes to the world of Limited. Yasu is one of my first ever Flesh and Blood friends, and I fucking cherish this dude. I will be on the rails rooting for you at the World Championships. I did manage to squeak out the 1-2, beating a newer player who said this was their first event, but he and his brother were there, and they were previous Yu-Gi-Oh! Grinders, and sometimes you just meet somebody and you know that they just, like, get it with card games, you know what I mean? And I feel like this guy got it, so I hope him and his brother keep coming back, because I think they could be some absolute sharks. Towards the end of the tournament, I had to catch up with another one of my original Flesh and Blood homies, the guy who inspired me to slab all of my equipment, and perhaps the absolute worst influence when it comes to buying egregious amounts of sealed product. I'm talking about Mr. Johnny Chicago.
I'm Johnny Espejo. I've been playing since Tales of Aria. I'm like mid, playing long enough. My cousin, who is well ingrained into the game, introduced me to it. I've played trading card games most of my life. I used to open dual lands in revised packs that cost $3.50. So, that's how long I've been playing card games. But yeah, Flesh and Blood, he showed it to me, and I loved it ever since. We started actually I played one game of Monarch Blitz decks. It was Chain versus Prism. And the first thing I thought of when I saw Chain, I was like, is this Necropotence? And then I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then he showed me different heroes, and then I went to my first Armory in Chicago, and I hadn't played one Armory yet, and I hadn't played a classic constructed game yet. I guess I played a Blitz game, but I drafted right away. I drafted Lexi, and I sat down with a guy. His name's Bedham, super cool guy. He actually is the admin for the Chicago area LGS Hangout Discord. And I was like, look, I don't know how to play. I'm going to make mistakes. Just let me know. I'm more than happy to do whatever. And I 0-3'd that, and I had a blast playing. Well, the community here is amazing. So in other trading card games, I think the community's changed a bit. But in the past, I actually loved it. I loved going to tournaments, big events. I do that all the time with Flesh and Blood. Even if I don't like qualify for, let's say, a Pro Tour, I'm still willing to go just for the travel and for the people. I love opening products. It's just a thing. So, yeah, so with pre-releases, I absolutely enjoy just opening for pre-releases and playing good games. That's really what it comes down to. Like, if someone killed me in a pre-release yesterday because I had no hand and they 2-damaged me with like a reviled card, and I was like, I think it was a charm. And I was like, that's amazing. Love it, love it. Couldn't play around it anyway. So it wasn't a skill issue. So I was like, sweet. So I'm an OG Katsu. He's been done dirty, but like, I still love him. I basically play Kano more to punish the community because I can't really play Katsu at value. So yeah, so I will play it. So usually at competitive level, I'll play Kano. I will never play Kano at Armory, but
Johnny was also the first ever Kano I played against. I won, but it's incredibly likely that Johnny punted just trying to do some flashy stuff. He's kind of known for that.
I will do it at competitive level. No, thank you.
After the pre-release, we walked approximately 50 feet to the local pizza joint to grab a few massive slices. Once again, I did not get any footage of the food because once the food is in front of me, I become a ravenous beast, and then I was going to head home to get to work on this very script, but never satisfied, Johnny had to buy a case. And because all we do is play good games, they're going to do some full box sealed. Yasu, who's the strongest hero in Super Slam full box sealed?
I think Maya. You can get all the red ores yourself.
Oh boy, they're in for it. So obviously I had to watch them open some packs. Johnny rips the cold foil legendary off the jump, and then I finally head home to get to work on the script, and at this point, the script and the current timeline have collided. So thank you so much for watching the video. If you liked it, please do hit the like button because it does obnoxiously good things for the stupid frickin' algorithm. Thank you again to all of the Rowdy locals who make this community so awesome. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and as always, have a great day. Have a great day! Have a great day! What am I doing?